So welcome everybody again. This is Medica Nova Wellness Studio. And today I have another really educational and inspiring conversation with Dr. Ladislau Rosenberg about how to utilize natural therapies in the prevention and treatment of mental health challenges. Now, from our last talk, some of you who watched it have introduced Dr. Ladislau Rosenberg, who is now in Romania, and I'm located in the US. So it's a worldwide across conversation here. And Dr. Rosenberg is an expert in apitherapy, which is based on the bees, and aromatherapy, phytotherapy, and many other skills. And I today would like to share my knowledge from the homeopathic side. So what can we share today? Well, right now, as this planet is going through major global as well as an economic shift, we all experience heightened and mental and emotional, but also physical symptomatology and challenges. I see it in my practice with patients. And they're caused either from here in the US, we just went through the pre and the post general election in the US. In Romania, close to the war-torn countries next door, people are living hardships in, through war as well, financially and also economically. People today have or experience a lot of challenges right now. Some maybe you out there have lost their jobs, have now financial stress. Some of you out there have just lost a loved one. Just to mention a few topics, we all are going through major changes right now. So some of us are stretched to our limits. Some of us can take it easier, but we all feel that this is a time of profound changes. So the healthy approach is based more, in this case, choosing maybe life-affirming methodologies to help us move through such challenging times with more ease, maybe with more understanding too. But really what we want to have is a treatment plan or protocol that has no side effects, right? Which really supports us. So you may even be, familiar or have applied, I wouldn't say distractions, but maybe different strategies of self-care activities, maybe spending time more outdoors, exercising, connecting with friends, having a good chat. But even then, you feel like, that's not enough anymore, right? I need a little bit more help here. Sure, simply mentioning the emotions is good, expressing yourself, but let's go a little bit deeper. And that's why we wanted to share this video with you to give you accessible, over-the-counter, and also effective natural guidelines how to meet such challenging situation. To start with, I would like to share with you, which I have already mentioned in a previous video with Elizabeth Adelin, where we talked about trauma and homeopathy, about the understanding or the definition of what mental health is really about. And it truly refers more to the cognitive, to the behavioral, and to the emotional well-being. It's about how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. Now, according to the World Health Organization, mental health, it says, is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life. And, that's here in question, I would say, can work productively and fruitfully, and can make a contribution to his or her community. That's a strong statement, and we want to really embrace that. And often, right now, people find this very difficult to meet this statement. So, the WHO stresses that mental health is not just the absence of mental disorder. So, mental and physical health are equally important, right? They go together. And for example, depression increases the risk for chronic diseases. It can be maybe diabetes, it can be heart diseases, stroke is part of that. Similarity, if on the other hand, if you have chronic diseases, that can lead to mental health challenges. So here in the US, it doesn't look so good right now. We have 1 in 3 adults, have experience definitely, or right now, at once in their life, have experienced mental health challenges. Very, very a high grade here. We have over 300 million people worldwide, suffer from depression, anxiety, 25% more on the rise. So there is no doubt anymore today that mental health has moved to the forefront of healthcare. Just one statistic here, they say the American Psychiatric Association said in 2024, right now, nearly 73% of the entire US population of adults, US adults, were affected by the recent presidential election. And 69% of the population is dealing with significant stress after the election, next to living again through war-torn countries, violence, natural disasters, or personal intense life challenges. So that's why today we would like to give you some ideas, some guidelines about natural healing tools, how to meet your inner turmoil, and helping you to walk through such difficult times with more ease. So, Dr. Ladislau Rosenberg, you were mentioning when we talked about it and decided to make this talk about some remedies called St. John's wort. Maybe people have heard about it. In homeopathy, we call it hypericum. And then chamomilla essential oils, but also the royal jelly. We always come back to that. So I give you the floor, and maybe you want to introduce your first helpful tool about how to ease off an agitated nervous system.
Dear Dr. Angelica Koch, thank you again for your invitation in this podcast, your podcast, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for us, for me, and to present health education and about the possibility to utilize different natural therapies in prevention and treatment. Every time I repeat this idea, prevention and treatment of different disease. Today, you proposed, and I accepted with great pleasure, to discuss about this chance, this way, this possibility to utilize these soft, natural, traditional therapies like epitherapy, phytotherapy, aromatherapy, and sure, homeopathy, alone or in combination to help people with mental problems, with mental health disorders, etc. And you mentioned in your introduction that the number of the persons we suffer of different mental mental disorders is very, very high. You mentioned World Health Organization. Well, after the last information of World Health Organization, about 300 million of people suffer of depression. Depression is one of the most critical and serious problem all over the world. But also anxiety, uh, panic attacks, etc., etc. These are really very serious problems. And after my experience, natural therapies, soft therapies are able to help the people who suffer with this mental problems. Yes, we are in a world with a lot of stress. We know the stress, the negative stress, is very it produce a great distraction in our brain, in our mind, which is a very fragile organ. It's a fantastic biocomputer, but a very sensible, very fragile organ. And and probably the majority of the person which are interested in this podcast know that in our brain, our mind is like a flux between the past and between the future. Is like a railway station. About 30,000 thoughts pass every day in our mind. 30,000. It's and the most part of these thoughts are negative. We started with unresolved problems and traumas from the past, and we going to the future, which is not social problems, family problems, health problems, etc. And for this, I think, in my opinion, natural therapies, which I mentioned before, helps the people, and also other natural therapies like music therapy. Yes, it's really very efficient in the treatment of these mental disorders problems. But to return to our topic, to return to our ideas, we discuss today about three natural therapies. One will be an epitherapy, very important epitherapeutic product, royal jelly. And I will start with this products, which we discussed about this product, B product, in your last podcast. Yes, all bee products are stimulate immune system, but also royal jelly, which is a powerful nutrient, produced by the worker bees. Yes, and it is the food of the queen, of bee queen. Yes, and when we utilize this perfect food, it's really stimulate the level of serotonin in our brain, the level of dopamine, and produce a good, mental, a good psychological situation. Yes, I recommend and I utilize very much royal jelly. It's possible to utilize it in collaboration with honey. Yes, when we utilize royal jelly to combine, for example, with honey of good quality. I think that royal jelly in cooperation with other natural products give a good protection in against stress, is utilized and it's possible to utilize in depression and to utilize in panic attacks, to utilize in anxiety, etc., etc. It's a really interesting and important natural product for our body.
That's wonderful. And how would you administer it? Would you administer it daily for an adult
Yeah.
or only during times when it's appropriate? Or what would you suggest?
Fresh royal jelly is only if you have a, a, a beekeeper in your region, in your town, city, etc. But exist food supplements
Mhm.
with clear concentration of royal jelly in their composition. Generally, we utilize daily
Okay,
about half gram, uh, 500 milligrams of this powerful bee product.
that's wonderful.
Oral administration really is efficient and it's possible to associate with other epitherapeutic products or phytotherapy, medicinal plants, uh, essential oil, etc.
That's wonderful. I mean, it makes so much sense. First of all, serotonin is, we call it the happy hormone, right? Which just gives you this feeling that you are back into your life, you're thriving, and you have the inner nutrients in order to engage with life, even if it's challenging. But also,
Exactly.
what comes to mind here is that, when we go through mental and emotional challenges, often the immune system is affected. And I see it in my patients when they go through very strong, even just 2 days ago, I had a patient whose husband passed away 3 years ago. But for her, it was like as if it was yesterday. And her immune system just collapsed since then. And she never really, whatever she took, vitamin C or whatever supplement she chose, it never really came to the place where she felt like she is healthy, or that she was just tired all the time. The joints started to ache. And of course, the idea is to focus on the mental, emotional, the grief situation first before the body can even catch up with a weakened immune system. So that is a wonderful point you mentioned here, that not only will it sort of like align the nervous system, but it will boost the immune system, which we so much need during times when we go through challenges. And that brings me to a really nice homeopathic remedy which goes hand in hand here with royal jelly. I think when you talked about interdisciplinary connection between two different methodologies, I think this would be a wonderful combo. The homeopathic remedy is called Ignatia amara, and Ignatia amara is basically a bean. It's a plant, but in homeopathy, just for our viewers, quickly, just a small introduction. The idea is based on the law of similars. So we want to look for a remedy which matches your symptomatology on all levels, the mental, emotional, as well as the physical, the most. It's like a matchmaking situation. The allopathic medicine is more based on the law of contraries, where the drug is then annihilating or, is stronger towards the symptom. So the symptom, isn't there anymore. But this principle is not really supported in homeopathy. We want to create a dialogue between the remedy as well as the vital force or the body. And so when you, for example, feel like you have experienced a sudden loss, which has to do with bereavement, with extreme sadness, but also disappointment, right? When you maybe lost a relationship, or there's this feeling, I could have done more, even a little bit, the self-pity or the self-blame. Often that comes out in situation when you lost a loved one, and you maybe were the one who had to, be responsible for medical interventions for the one who passed away. And often the question comes up, oh, I could have done more. This feeling like where you are really, really going through deep, deep grief. The same here, and I really want to stress here, we both are completely non-judgmental or not biased with any political sides here. This is really just an educational video about how to deal with really mental and emotional challenges. But here in the US, for example, a lot of people are going through shock, or also through the periods or the experience of grief very, very strongly. So an Ignatia Amara personality, for example, they're very sensitive. But what they have also high expectations about the others. And therefore, they often maybe sometimes get disappointed because not everyone can meet the expectation of the person. And this is just a natural experience, but more so in an Ignatia personality. When somebody goes through extreme grief and bereavement periods, the body starts to sort of create a little defense mechanism. And one of the keynotes here, that the person starts to sigh. They go like, huh, huh, huh. And it becomes automatic. They don't even know that they're doing it, but that will be a keynote. The other one is, I also feel like with Ignatia Mara personalities is that they start yawning a lot. They go through emotions, and suddenly in between the sentences, they yawn a lot. That is a definitely keynote that this would be a good remedy or an indication for the remedy. So they have a tendency to blink, to sigh, to yawn. And you can see it even in the child. When the child is affected, of course, child is sensitive, but they find it very difficult. They go within, we call it the silent grief. They brood a lot. Brooding means like, they mope a lot about it. They don't know how to, of course, a child doesn't have the tools, the mature tools to deal with emotions, especially, for example, when parents separate. You can see that the child gets very, very much affected, especially if it's in the earlier age groups. And they withdraw, or they become a little bit rambunctious, and their behavior starts to change. More so, I see it in the modern families where they say, well, the child has to stay 1 week with the mother and the next week with the father. And a child told me that in a session that he or she felt like a ping pong ball. She had to pack up the suitcase sort of every week and then forgot something, and it was just, there was no grounding, there was no rooting going on, and the child felt very lost. And also they play each other, in terms of the mother and the father. But right now also I feel like we see it on a global level. Of course, the last pandemic also created very strong emotional challenges, right? People were separated from each other for months, right? They couldn't see each other. And that created stress. And stress comes out either, usually in this case, depression, sadness, anxiety. So with Ignacia Amara, the keynote or the emphasis is based on feeling hurt. Something, so somebody, wasn't going along with you in your life, or maybe there was some backstabbing even, this feeling like I got really disappointed. And there's sadness, a feeling of you lose control, right? Life has changed. And with Ignacia Amara, often on the physical level, you see a lot of headaches. And the headaches are one-sided and often have this sensation as if there's a nail driven into the head. It's like so intense, like something stabbed your heart as well. So even the headaches, the nature of the headache is like if somebody really pierced your heart. It's like the broken-hearted, people. We also see a lot of coughs and sore throat with Ignacia Amara. I see a lot of runny noses, the colds and the coughs coming in, and they can't shake it off. They maybe had their antibiotics, but it's coming back. We see that a lot here. Lots of headaches, lots of sore throat. But there is a sort of interesting point with Ignacia Amara that when they swallow, usually when you swallow or eat something, the symptom gets worse. But in this case, it's opposite. It's like when you swallow something like a food, it actually feels better, the sore throat. So it's almost paradoxically. But Ignacia Amara is a wonderful, wonderful remedy right now, indicated for when literally a mass of population is going through major, major changes. And this can be, as I said, in war-torn countries, in where the country is politically affected with major elections where people have to adapt, to big changes. So the combination of, for example, royal jelly, really boosting the immune system, because it's inevitable that you will get sick during this time. Now, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we have the colder temperatures. The winter is about, right? We are in the winter. So even more so, you're more prone to, floating around stimuli from bacteria and viruses. So it would be very helpful to look at the royal jelly on a daily basis, like Dr. Rosenberg has just advised us. And if you feel strongly that you're going through a period of sadness, then I suggest Ignacia Amara. And in this case, only for an adult, I'm talking right now, maybe 200C, that is the number behind the name. And here I would say 1 tablet daily, maybe for 3-4 days. Just see how it goes. Step back, give yourself a week time. And if you feel like you want to repeat it again, I would repeat it only once or twice. And of course, contact your professional homeopathy or healthcare practitioner. This is very important. If it's a child, maybe you go down with the potency 30. But here I would like to also say you can always reach out to us. You can contact Dr. Rosenberg to schedule your appointment, as well as me at Medica Nova, and we are more than happy to support you, through this difficult time. Another thought what comes to mind here is we have a Bach flower remedy called walnut, and walnut is it's Bach flower remedies. Some were homeopathic, but also really a gift from nature. Not really because they're not potent side. It's really the frequency is collected in the dewdrops of the substance, and in this case, the walnut. But Bach flower remedies are very refined, very high frequency, and they deal with the emotional and mental body. And walnut is specific for helping you to adapt to changes. So changes can be global changes, adapting to when you maybe move residential, you move from one place to the next. That helps your children to adapt also to the new school. Even change, if you find puberty is very difficult for one of your children, it's adapting to change. And we all, change is difficult. Change is challenging on all levels. Some are better, others are not so. And adding walnut, and I would say 5 to 7 drops daily. You can put it in a glass of water or straight onto your tongue if you, not so sensitive. Sometimes I put a little brandy in for the preservation of the substance so it doesn't get moldy and is affected. So you can do that. And you can take it as long as you need. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day. It will help not just align the nervous system, but really help you through this change. So the combination here, royal jelly, Ignatia amara, and walnut Bach flower remedy would be really, really a good combo here. What do you think, Dr. Rosenberg?
Yes, it's a very good example, and you enlarge the possibilities after we discuss about an epitherapeutic product. You presented Ignatia amara, which is really a powerful and important remedy, homeopathic remedy for the treatment of mental problems. And if you is possible, I want very shortly to present a medicinal plant. You discussed before about the effect of walnut. Euglans regia, in the name in Latin name. But I want to present very short information about St. John's wort Hypericum perforatum, which is a plant which exists in the wild flora of Europe, of Asia, of America, of North America. It's a plant, a medicinal plant, which exists in wild flora, but it's possible to also to cultivate this plant. And every time we in our discussions, it's important to mention that we discuss about evidence-based medicine, and this plant is really a plant with a lot of analysis, physicochemical analysis, clinical trials, pharmacological was very well evaluated, and is reach the active principles, the active substances of the most important active substances of this medicinal plant are hypericin and the product are standardized in these active substances, which was util, really a valuable product for the treatment of mild, a mild and moderate depression. Very good results were obtained with different products, food supplements or medicines obtained from this medicinal plant, and the extracts, the standardized extracts in hypericin, and give very good therapeutic results for the treatment of mild, moderate depression. Yes, it's this is really the success way of a medicinal plant from spontan, from wild flora to the therapy, to the modern therapy, scientifically proved by clinical tests that this medicinal plant is really, really good and for the treatment of these mental problems. And it's possible also to associate every time we discuss about the synergy of nature, these natural therapies, of these natural products. It's possible to associate these soft therapies for the treatment of different mental problems like depression, anxiety, pain, panic attacks, etc.
Very much so, very much. And I mean, just for our viewers, you have to we want to be clear that what we share with you today is not a substitute, and you shouldn't stop your antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication, but in time, you maybe can be weaned off or substituted with something else, or even reduce the dependency of chemical synthesized, mental and emotional medication here, which of course most of the time comes with side effects. So we want to create health, but health, lasting health, and also health which really supports your process. It's not suppressing situations. And I remember very well with Hypericum, when we talk about, we call it the doctrine of signature, when we look at what does the plant really look like. And when you look, or, look up, pull up the leaf of a Hypericum up onto more the light or the sky, you can see there are holes in it, and we call it, therefore, the indication in homeopathy is it's a wonderful remedy for punctured wounds within, when you have accidents, but really it shows that the nervous system is punctured. The nervous system is really under huge stress, and it needs something which is not sort of like bold or in its nature or invasive. It needs something soft, as you said. It needs something which is really meeting to align or to, I wouldn't say fill up the holes of the leaf, but something on that level where you feel like you get something where the nervous system is calmed down again. And St. John's Wort has fantastic evidence-based research here, and all over if you want to, our viewers want to research that out there, of course, you're more than welcome. But also I will, put down once the podcast is edited and all the names of the remedies so you can follow it. And because they're maybe not familiar to you, they're Latin names, and I will put that in the description as well. So Hypericum, St. John's wort, we have royal jelly, Ignatia Mara, Juglans nigrans, it's like walnut. I want to bring in a remedy which is now related to anxiety, to fear, because what comes up also I feel right now in this strong, intense global change time is this feeling of being trapped. So I'm here and I can't get out of this situation. Either it's post-election or in a war-torn country. This feeling of everything is a crisis, and how can I meet, or I have to perform during a crisis. I can't fall apart. And we have here in the mineral kingdom a homeopathic remedy called Argentum nitricum. It's based on silver nitrate. And this feeling is really about strong fear and anxiety to the point that the body maybe produces symptoms like diarrhea or butterflies in the stomach. You see that more in general or common circumstances. For example, when you have a performance and you need to go on stage, and here comes the anxiety of anticipation. You maybe feel like, oh my God, what would happen if I lose my lines? What would other people think about me? Others maybe have this anxiety when they go to a job interview or to an ordeal, so to say. Then they feel, oh my God, I feel really nervous. Others find it maybe that they feel this anxiety when it's just very basic, like crossing bridges, right? It's like, or going into a lift, or even being in an aeroplane. That some people feel like, I feel like, I have to be in the aisle, I can't sit on the window because I feel easily trapped. In the past, when we still went to the movie theater, people would then sit in the aisles because they were looking for the exit holes in case there is something, unusual and I have to save myself. So when a person not just only shows this personality trait, but especially during these times right now, has strong fears and anxiety and feels like something bad is about to happen. And I get this feeling as if I'm trapped and I can't get out of it. Argentum nitricum is a wonderful remedy. Often on the symptomatology aspect, we maybe have palpitations, definitely digestive symptoms. They usually have burning or diarrhea, or it's just the whole digestive system is affected because it's our second brain and our nervous system is really agitated here. So they may be extrovert, cheerful on many levels, but there is this underlying feeling like, I feel anxious right now, and I feel anxious about the whole state of life, and I feel worried. I have strong thoughts about something bad is going to happen. And Argentum nitricum just eases off this agitated state because it goes into insomnia, right? It goes even to the point that people sometimes have fear of high places, right? Or they can't cross a bridge because, oh my God, what would happen? Will I fall down? At the same time, they do have this thing when they stand at the bridge and they look down and they think like, well, what would happen if I jump? Very strong, impulsive thoughts as well. So whatever the situation, if you're afraid to be in a crowd, closed spaces, crossing bridges, being feeling you're in a closed environment, like sitting in an aeroplane, or you want to be on time to get to your flight and you're very anxious and nervous. Anything on this situation, argentum nitricum would be very, very helpful here. It's a wonderful remedy. And here again, I think this would be a good situation to combine it even with St. John's wort in a tincture for St. John's wort in a tincture form, and then bring in argentum nitricum. I would say not too often, maybe argentum nitricum 200 once a week is fine, for 2 or 3 weeks to get you through the worst, but supported with hypericum or St. John's wort in this case, herbal tincture on a daily basis. I think this would be a wonderful combination, or Bach flower remedies. In this case, maybe in this case would be rescue remedy or rock rose, which has a lot to do with trauma, anxiety, heightened states of emotional agitation. What do you think?
Yes, yes, and I think this podcast, this health education podcast is very important because offer solutions, natural solutions for today. We discuss about mental disorders. Depression is not a flu. If we treat flu or don't treat, after 5 days, the patient is okay, is on the way. But the treatment of the depression for the treatment are necessary in generally months and sometimes years.
Exactly.
And the period of recovery is very difficult. It's very difficult, and these natural methods, these natural remedies, which we mentioned today, help the patient in this long period of recovery. This is very, very important, and also as to associate with other complementary therapies like music therapies, like meditation, like yoga. Yes, it's a strong position for recovery from this difficult situation.
Yes, I think this, looking at the totality of the patient, right? In really looking not just at the expression of the saying it's, well, you're depressed and that's it, but really meeting the entire person, understanding where they're coming from, and then bringing in an individualized protocol um, is just much more effective. And it's also more kinder, to the soul in itself, because we're not talking about suppression. We're talking about recognition, restoration, helping the person, but in a gentle way, but in the highest form. And gentle doesn't mean, often people say herbs take a long time to kick in. No, not at all. Homeopathy can be, particular with Ignatia Mara, you can feel it very, very soon, right? In a very short time period, you will feel the effects, and something has changed here. I think right now, because of the complexity of the situation right now, with the global situation, economic situation, world wars situation, all of that, we need more different methodologies. And of course, as you said, breathing, meditation, journaling, walking, all that is absolutely beneficial. But when it gets so heightened, we need a little and we need extras. We need more deep acting strategies here to guide us, to help us through these difficult times. Yeah, I feel like I want to bring in one more remedy from my side. I think which would go very well with yours as well, the last one, which would be the chamomile essential oil. I think my remedy is called Staphysagria, and Staphysagria is um, basically a homeopathic remedy made from the Delphinium family. But here we
Yes.
talk about rage and anger. So we had depression, we had anxiety, and now we talk about anger. Right now with Staphysagria, and I see this right now in my patients as well. The keynote with Staphysagria is that we call it morbidly sensitive. They're so sensitive that they take everything to heart. And particularly if people, have maybe a rude language, they don't like it, right? But at the same time, um, they feel because of this sensitivity that they cannot react so strongly because they feel like they have a dignity, they have a noble stature, and to go against it would be not so great because they would just come down to the lower level and retaliation doesn't really work for them. So what happens? They keep it inside. They keep it inside. They really suppress their emotions and especially anger and rage. So right now in the US, we have a lot of people raging and being angry. And this rage is very activated when they feel humiliated in front of others or they feel insulted. And here, an entire country feels insulted. No matter what political side you want to take, it's not about that. It's about there's something in the world where people feel like this just doesn't work anymore with us. This we want more. A world which works not in separation but in unity. And we feel this underlying uneasiness. And so Staphysagria people, they feel like they have to uphold their dignity. But then after a while, it doesn't work anymore so much. And then they lose it all. And you can see that even in children, then when they take an object and throw it against their parents, maybe, where they feel really upset. So this anger, this suppressed anger, then expresses itself maybe in trembling. The whole body starts to tremble. They maybe lose their voice during anger. The face gets red. And often in women, we see urinary infections. Very common Staphysagria is there always a great remedy for styes, like on the eye when you have this strong infection. I give you an example, which gives you more this feeling about what Staphysagria is about. Let's say I'm a secretary in a big corporation. And it's 4:30, and the boss comes to me with a pile of files and says, Angelica, sorry to do this again, but I would need this by 8 in the morning tomorrow. And it's already week 2. He's doing that to me. And so after a while, you feel like, God, what does it mean? I have to stay in the office again till 9, 10 o'clock in the night. This is not fair, and I have feelings. But because I'm dependent on the salary, I will comply. I will just conform and say, okay, comes week 3, you're on the verge of explosion or implosion. And this was a real case, not me, but I read this case. And the homeopath has given Staphysagria in a higher potency to the patient because the homeopath recognized that this person is really suffering. And if this goes on, we have a problem. Now, after the remedy, the person walked into the boss's office threw the files on the table and said, I'm out of here. This is not working for me anymore, right? So it's like, it's about self-empowering. It's about bringing back this feeling that you're not oppressed or in a situation where you feel oppressed. And you bring back your power. There can be also, I've seen Staphysagria applied many times when couples go through divorce and one feels disempowered, or there is this raging aggression going on. It's a great remedy. It calms, when one is really angry, the liver gets affected, and you feel in this area here that there's a lot of tension. And Staphysagria calms this down beautifully, really beautifully. It helps you to the next step of your healing. And here again, we can combine Staphysagria as a remedy with other like natural therapies, or in this case, also Bach flower remedies, or in this case, I'm looking forward to hear from you about the chamomile essential oil. I think there will be a wonderful combo here. So I give the floor to you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, chamomile aromatherapy offer us a large scale of essential oils, which are very useful, are valuable for relaxation, for calming, to introduce a good sleep, which is really very important to preserve our physical and mental health. When we discuss to prepare this podcast, I was to select chamomile oil, or lavender essential oil, or rose oil, etc. The list is very long, but I think chamomile, which is obtained from the flowers of this beautiful small plant, medicinal and aromatic plant, is one of the most utilized medicinal plant worldwide. Yes, Matricaria camomilla, the Latin name of this plant, which exists in spontan, in wild flora all over the world, but because it utilized in many products, pharmaceutical, cosmetic products, etc. This medicinal and aromatic plant is cultivated in large in different countries of the world. The essential oil from this plant is obtained from steam distillation, or other exist modern distillation form, and the essential oil is blue. It is obtained very small quantity of this essential oil from the flowers of this very important medicinal and aromatic plant. It's possible to use. I recommend it in generally to use essential oil externally, to use by inhalation, yes, or to dilute this essential oil in a carrier, in a fatty oil, and to massage. Also, massage is really a good therapeutic, natural, traditional therapeutic method utilized for relaxation, and which is possible to associate for the treatment of different mental disorder, mental health problems. Yes, I think aromatherapy is a little bit difficult to associate with homeopathy, especially the mint essential oil. But chamomile is possible to associate with homeopathy. This is, I believe, really that this synergistic effect between different natural therapies give the power of this method for the treatment of problems mental disorders which we discuss today. And I think here we are in the same wave that the combination the synergism is really very, very important and open really the door, open the possibilities of prevention and treatment of different problems, health problems.
Very nice. Immediately my brain was going into two different directions. So the first one is, I want to say to our viewers, when you were saying it could be used in a massage oil, so you can maybe, as a carrier, you can use sesame oil, you can do coconut oil,
Sure.
oil, all of that. For you, the massage therapist can add some chamomile essential oil, and it would be very helpful. The other thought which I had, which just came to mind, it was like a light bulb going up inside while you were talking. You know, in homeopathy, the remedy chamomilla, in a way, is indicated for children who are going through very physically painful situations and get angry. So, for example, the child who is teething, right? Losing the baby teeth and the new teeth are coming out, and has the hand in the mouth and is drooling and is very uncomfortable and very angry, is the chamomile state. And so it's like a child who goes through a teething period, for example. They would say, oh, I want an orange juice. And the mama runs and gets the orange juice, only to throw the bottle across the room because the pain is so strong. So the keynote in chamomilla, we say often, is they're intolerable of the pain. Even a mother who goes through maybe, giving birth and has strong contractions and labors, and she said, I can't stand the pain, get me to hospital, right? And gets very angry and throws the people out of the room. And this kind of state, this very angry state, because something is going against me, in this case, a physical pain, is a very chamomile state. And I just talked about Staphysagria, who also is very much related to rage and anger suppression. So I think this is like a whole new medicine we create here, right? And but in my gut feeling, I think this could work. Staphysagria, as in this case, a remedy, given homeopathic remedies with the combination of chamomilla essential oil externally applied. Because it goes through the skin, and it has a similar frequency, right? We're not talking about one is for anxiety, the other is for depression or anger. No, they both are indicated for heightened state of anger, in this case, rage as well. And it would be a great combo to do the internal remedy in terms of in the form of Staphysagria, and the external application with a substance which works on that frequency in a very gentle way, but effective way. I think this would we would address many different approaches and also susceptibilities for the patient. You know, some respond better when something is on their skin and it goes inside. The others respond better with homeopathy. And I do feel, you know, yes, there are different opinions out there right now, maybe, and say, oh no, you can't combine this, you know, one antidote's the other. And I feel if the frequency is the same, if we are working with the same understanding in the frequency, there won't be an antidote, or the efficiency of each other will be not decreased. In fact, they will work with each other, because nature always works in, as you said, in synergy. It works together in unity. It will not antidote one or the other. You know, yes, if the frequencies are completely different, sometimes I do feel when a patient is on a strong, deep acting homeopathic remedy, but then has weekly acupuncture sessions, that may be a little bit too interfering, because there are high frequency therapies working at the same time, and maybe it's a little bit much for the body sometimes. But in this case, when the frequency is alike, very alike, and we're working on the same core essence, I feel the body will respond. So that's my
Sure.
sort of,
Thank you.
the bulb moment I had when you were talking. I said, no, this could work. This could really, really work. And I trust my intuition here. Yeah.
What do you think about holistic, synergic therapies?
Holistic synergies therapies in a give me an example.
All this during this podcast, during our discussions, were only were these examples, different natural therapies which collaborate together, which work together for a better health, for a better, good quality of life of the patient.
Right.
I think that is a new way, is a new science.
Yes, I think so. Um, because the purpose is really in enhancing the health status and the quality of the life of the patient. So it's not that the practitioners are in competition with each other with their whatever they are choosing as a therapy. It's about um, finding a way how to, as I said, enhance the state of the health of the patient in the highest form. And for example, as I said, if the practitioners or the different methodologies work on the same theme, then I think there is a synergy happening. If they work on different or opposite themes, even if it's natural, the body, I find in my experience, in clinical experience, that the body gets a little bit overwhelmed. And that can be, for example, the patient is on homeopathic remedies, has acupuncture, has therapy, and takes supplements on the same time. For some, that works, but most of us are not so rough in their constitution, and it gets a little bit too much. As I said, for example, I give you an example. Just if somebody feels like they really want to empower themselves, right? They go through the emotional and the mental stages with homeopathic remedies, with essential oils, but also now start maybe incorporating some physical exercises which have to do with, what comes to mind is Shaolin Qigong, or something which is more activating the qi within the body in order to align oneself, to get more into one's self-confidence. All of that works on the same theme, just from different angles. And I think that is a wonderful combination. That is a wonderful synergy in terms of talking about that the patient is now fully engaged in the healing process. And, for everyone, it's different. But I think a combination of different holistic therapies is welcomed here rather than, judged upon in a way. But everyone is different. Everyone is different. Like yesterday, I had a patient. She came with very strong joint pains,
Mhm.
grief as well, a lot of sadness. And here I thought, let's just take it step by step. If I would have come in with, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, would have been completely overwhelming for the patient, would have not worked. And now it's because she has to really regain trust first and see how her body is actually responding. And then when the confidence comes in, we can introduce more different holistic therapies, which will work for her. And then she feels like it's not implanted on her, she has chosen it, right? She has taken responsibility for her well-being. I do feel I welcome the synergy of holistic therapies, and more so than ever. And my last word here is, because of the complexity of what we're experiencing right now in this very challenging world, I believe we need more. We need more. And on top, I mean, I don't even want to go there into this today, but because of environmental toxicity, right? Anxiety and depression has a lot to do with neurotoxins today, and
Sure.
and this brings me to a point where we also need supplements in order to detox our brain right now, right? And not just from personal life situations, but also from environmental toxicity. It becomes more complex today. And that's why we need more advanced um, and methodologies which really work and focus on the totality of the situation. It's not as easy anymore as it used to be like 50 years ago. It's much more
Sure.
complex. And here comes the sun. It's hitting in my face in a minute. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, so thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rosenberg, again, to
Thank you,
this
Dr.
really
Koch. Thank
informative,
you very much.
educational podcast. I hope you viewers out there got some kind of courage and also an inspiration to seek out more different solutions which work, which are evidence based. And as I said, we are both more than happy to help you here. Contact Dr. Rosenberg. I put in the description how you can contact him, as well as myself. And till next time, I wish you all the best.